you just go back inside there. I'm gonna see my knee. Dang. Well, hey, everybody. Well, if you look behind me, it might look like there's just a big mess back there, but there's more to it than that. Of course, that's what my wife's seeing out here, screaming at me, get out here and clean it up. She's been out here screaming at me to clean it up for the last 2 months. Well, it might look like a mess, but it ain't. I'm fixing to do something with it, and I'm fixing to document it, so you'll see the beauty that can become of potential beauty. This is like, you've heard of potential energy. This is potential beauty back here, getting ready to be transformed into the most beautiful hillbilly garden you've ever seen in your life. You and you shut up. Just like that. They just moved in a couple days ago, take up residence down here in the pond, and already they're on her side. Sheesh. They're going to like it too. I just hope I can keep them out of it. Now, what am I talking about here with this hillbilly garden and the wife being all upset with me and even the geese being ticked off 10 different ways till Sunday? Well, I guess things have kind of gotten away from me out back here, and I'm going to take you on a tour and show you around. But my gosh, things ain't that bad. My wife, I don't want anybody to overhear this. My wife was talking about hiring a crew to come out here and clean up our yard. And I told her the day that I pay someone else to do my yard work will be the day that these 2 legs, these 2 hands, and this beating heart inside this chest don't work. And she said, well, you ain't doing it. Well, that's not what she said. She ain't a hillbilly. She said, you're not doing it, so I'm going to pay someone else to do it. Wait a minute. She's not a yuppie either. She's from the Philippines. She says, wala trabaho ka dito gawas balay, atuka dito gawas balay, trabaho ka kaayu ichaka atu palit lalaki doha tolo lalaki trabaho dito. That's pretty much what she said. She said, if you don't go out there and clean up that mess, I'm going to go hire 2 or 3 guys to go out there and do it for me since you're not doing it. Listen, I'm doing it. I've been studying on my projects here, which is going to be a beautiful hillbilly garden. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about. Listen, being a hillbilly gardener isn't so much about even being in Appalachia. I'm not. I'm in Central Virginia. Now, I am originally from Appalachistan. The region of which I was from was West by God, Virginia, and you got to put the by God in there. People think you're talking about Western Virginia, down there south of Roanoke. Though that is part of Appalachia, it's not in the same state even. But all things hillbilly is really a mindset. See, it's about making do with what you have. And there's been great men and women throughout history who's done just that. For instance, Teddy Roosevelt himself said, do the best with what you got. Well, that's what hillbillies have done for generations. And though I have been plucked up and transferred to an area that's got a lot of yuppies, not that many hillbillies, I still remember my hillbilly ways. And so I begged my wife to give me a couple more days so I can beautify what she's calling a mess into a beautiful hillbilly garden. I'm going to take you on this journey with me. I'm going to create a playlist here on this channel where I keep you up to date on my hillbilly gardening. And this is just the introduction. And now that them geese ain't here to bite me, and my wife's gone back inside and doing something else, so she ain't here to... let me give you a tour. All right, now listen. Now, a yuppie might look at something like this and say, what a mess. OMG. Our property values have just gone down with this dumb hillbilly living next door to us. Well, not really, because let me show you what this is going to become. All this mess. Got this old chicken house here. Ain't had chickens in it since, well, last time it had chickens in it. Got some old cardboard boxes here and some nasty stuff. Messy old back porch. Look at that. Firewood and dirt bikes and motorcycles everywhere. Told you I was from Appalachia. Now listen. You know, you weren't supposed to see this part, but you did. So let me go on ahead here and explain. What you doing? Oh, just thinking about how my ancestors are rolling over in their graves, thinking about the fact that I spent hard-earned money on dirt. This is how dangerously close I was getting to being a yuppie. Yeah, I hear you. You're saying, why would it, wait a minute, you're a hillbilly, so you don't actually work for your money, right? Doesn't your money come from entitlements? Well, listen, not this particular hillbilly. This particular hillbilly does work for his money. And listen, even those that don't, they get it through whatever, government check or whatever. Somebody's working hard for that money too. So if you're using that money to buy dirt, somebody's hard-earned money is being spent on dirt. I decided I can't go this route. I got to go the hillbilly route. So anyway, that explains that. But now let's look in here. This is the part my wife don't see. She doesn't see this, see? Let me show you. We had chickens up in here. Well, up until about last summer, something got a hold of them. I ain't even going to try to tell you what that was got a hold of them because y'all ain't going to believe me. Lives up there in them woods up there. Potentially. So anyway, she sees a mess and she's saying, you come in here and take this thing down, burn it, take it to the landfill. I don't care. Just get rid of it. Well, she sees a mess. What I see is soil that has been fertilized for years from chickens. We had rabbits in here one time pooping everywhere. I see the richest soil. Look, why are you going to pay $6 or $7 for a bag of that when you got this already here? Now, it ain't a big space, but look at it. Look at the beauty of this space. Number one, the soil. Highly enriched from years worth of poo. Can you imagine 4 or 5 years worth of poo right here? Poo-wee, that's some good nutrients in that soil. Now, think about it. Any plants we plant out here needs to be protected from the deer, the geese, the squirrels, the rabbits, the other things that eat the stuff that you plant. So, if we got, whop, bam, bing, 4 walls, and I got the door that goes on here. See, I ain't lying to you. Somewhere, that's not it. It's around here somewhere, maybe, I don't know, somewhere. But look at this, because we used to have a tarp up here, keep the chickens dry. We already got this fenced in too. Nothing can get in here once I put that door on. So think about it. It ain't a big space. See, it's maybe 10, but maybe 8 by 10, 7 by 9. Tomato plant, tomato plant, tomato plant, tomato plant. Shut the door. Nothing's going to get in here on it. You already got you a great tomato cage. Now, I already cleaned these weeds out. I already got a good start on my hillbilly garden here a few days ago. And I mentioned it in a video the other day, and everybody's like, we want to see your hillbilly garden progress and update. So this is the first time I made a video. But you see this right here? I'm going to show you what I'm doing. See, like I said, hillbillyism is a mindset. A lot of it involving using what you got. So you don't have to go out and spend a whole lot of money on dirt. Stuff like that. And you can spend a lot of money on containers to plant your stuff in. A lot of folks do it, and I ain't against it. Listen, I ain't against it. You want to do it, you go for it. But we had this unperfectly good set of, I don't know what this was. What was this? An entertainment center? Shoot. I guess you might have put a TV here to watch your wrestling on, maybe a little bit of NASCAR on Sundays. I don't know, have your CPU over there for a laptop, or wait a minute, they don't have, okay, for like a desktop. So if you want to sit on here and go on message boards with a fake ID and tell people how much they suck for their social media uploads or whatnot, call yourself something like Dixie Chick 56 and say, you're stupid and you suck, and why are you even on the internet? Well, that would go there. Then you type this up right here. But here my point is, my wife said, throw that away. I said, why would I throw that away? Why, I can take the back of it off, which I did, and broke in half, seal the bottom here, fill that with dirt, which I'm going to get I got 6 acres of dirt. I'm going to reserve that dirt for her in her princess garden. And man, I could plant some stuff in here. Now look at this. Here's the beauty of it. There's my tripod where we started. This is already fenced in. So why would I come out here and take all this down when it's already perfectly fenced in? Look at this. 7 feet high. Now I'm going to have to do something to cover the top because of the stuff that can fly over. There's animals out here that'll fly and will climb. Why, the raccoons, we've tried to grow corn before in the other garden down there, and the raccoons will just climb up over this and eat your corn the day before you're going to get it. It's like they're hanging out somewhere listening to you, and every time you say, look at that corn, let's get out there and harvest that tomorrow, well, they come in that night and they get it. So I'm going to have to cover this up. But now look, here's another, I tell you, I'm thinking big. I'm thinking big, okay? We can hang containers from the back and plant stuff in the containers, and it's already fenced in. Just got to get that top over. Now I'm going to haul these weeds out here somewhere, dump them out there on the far corner out there somewhere out of the way. I could burn them, but I'm just going to dump these since I've got them piled up. But there's so much potential here. Oh. She wants me to clean all that up too. But there's so much potential there too. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. As you can see behind me here, got some wonderful firewood. And then we have this big old maple limb that fell out of this tree here when we had an ice storm this winter. Now it's been broken off. We got another one over there. And my wife's just been getting on to me saying, you're lazy. Wala trabajo ka. Gawas ka. Trabajo dito. She's like, you're so lazy. Get out there and clean up, work in the backyard, clean it up. I've been telling her for 2 months. No. Hindi. Voila, in her own language. I got some plans for this thing. Look at this. That is a very big, thick maple limb. Up there at the top, it's as big around as my thigh. My thighs are pretty thick from walking up and down all these hills. Well, I guess for the first quarter century of my life, I'm kind of a lot flatter over here now. But once upon a time, I used to have to walk up and down hills, and I got one leg that's half an inch shorter than the other because they always sideways. That's just part of growing up in Appalachian. It's a true story. But look, I have intentionally allowed that limb to stay there for 2 months because I wanted to see what kind of stick stock I had access to. Yes, stick stock. Why? Well, because part of hillbilly gardening, that part of using what you have access to means you're going to sometimes make fencing. You're going to make potting containers out of sticks if they're thick enough and they're strong enough, because why waste them? We got plenty of firewood. We heat our house predominantly with wood, but we can also use sticks to make things, and you, over time, are going to see just that here with this new playlist about my hillbilly gardening. Look at it. Looks like a mess. Looks like a rural mess. Like I said, my wife was getting ready to go out and spend hard-earned money paying someone else to clean this up. And I told her I've had a plan the whole time. I'm going to show you more of my plan. Well, we had this giant pine tree fall last spring, and it was so big. Look at this. I thought this was a hoot. Fell right on this T-post here, and with such velocity that it stabbed itself down. And look at that. Isn't that something? But that tree went all the way up. There's an apple orchard there. Leaves ain't on them yet, so you can't really see it. But went up into that meadow we're allowed to reforest there, and I had to cut the whole thing out. But what it did is it kind of ruined the fencing we put up here around one of our garden spots. And I'm just tired of spending hard-earned money on stuff I don't need. So, we had talked about taking up all this fencing and just turning this part into the yard, maybe converting it to a basketball court for our son. He's been really getting into basketball, but I said, give me just one more year to do some hillbilly gardening. And she says, well, what are you going to grow here? Because every time we grow something in there, them deer, they just stand right outside the fence and they watch it because we got a free range herd of deer here, got about 40 head of deer in it. They was in here a little bit earlier this morning. They'll just watch and watch, and then once stuff grows up big enough, they'll just hop over the fence and they'll come over here and eat it. And I told them get out of there. I stood right here one day, watch this doe staring at some strawberries last summer. We got in a raised bed over there, we've grown some strawberries, trying it all yuppie style, right? Make some stuff with some good wood, buy some dirt, etc. Gosh, I'm embarrassed by all this. But then that doe, she just jumped over and she's looking down at strawberry. I said, now, dear, don't you dare eat that strawberry. Why, you know, I'm from Appalachia. For all you know, I might have in my house a military-style weapon that totally is not needed to dispatch you, but certainly would if I were to, especially subject a projectile, or subject your face to a projectile from said thing in the house I was talking about. And that deer just looked at me like, you dumb hillbilly, what's that even mean? And she just leaned over and ate that strawberry. And there was only one. Took us 3 years to grow one. And then she jumped out and went on her way. And I'm just done with it. I'm frustrated with that. I'm sick of that. I've had enough. So I'm going to do things differently this year. We ain't going to plant nothing here but potatoes. You know why? Because deer don't eat them. We had some potatoes there last year and the deer were like, what is that even? Like, what even is that? Well, it was a potato. But see, they didn't know it because the potatoes grow underground, see? And they don't like the way the tops taste, so they don't eat them. So, this is going to be our potato space. Now, we don't really eat a lot of potatoes, but we're going to start. I done told my family this is going to be the year of the potato. Well, we're in the garage now, and I just wanted to show you a thing or two. Well, I'm not going to show you the garage on the other side of me, because let me tell you what. Another thing she's been screaming at me about is getting out here and cleaning this garage, throwing all this stuff away, hauling stuff off to the dump. I got these laying everywhere. I told her, honey, you just don't get it. This ain't garbage. This is something we can use to grow food in, something we can grow stuff we can eat in. And she said, okay, you got like 6 weeks, and if you're not using this in your hillbilly garden, it's gone. And this, if you're, again, you do not have to be a hillbilly or have hillbilly roots, such as myself, to do hillbilly gardening. Let's say you're a yuppie, and let's say you want to use, like, all right, I'm going to try to do kind of what this guy does, but I have limited space. Well, you know, most folks call it container gardening. It's not really technically hillbilly gardening, but hillbillies started it, I'm telling you, growing stuff out of milk jugs and toilets and broken old cars and stuff. They call it container gardening now, but hey, you can do it too. Go out there in your garage over there on the other side of your Prius where you have them recycling bins, you know, and grab some of them milk jugs or big plastic, all them Chardonnay bottles. You ain't really going to do nothing. Well, you know what? You could do a lot with those. You can make some really pretty things, and we might get into that later. But for now, just grab your water, your distilled crystalline water stuff that comes out of the tap from some fancy place and figured out how to market to you, and set those off to the side. Now, make sure to move them out of the way of your Prius. You run into them, you're going to dent your bumper. You might even total your car. But you're going to learn ways to use this stuff that you just got laying around too. So now that I've explained my master plan, and y'all are probably thinking, is this guy serious? Is he making fun of me, or is he making fun of other people? No, I ain't making fun of nobody. And when I do, I make fun of everybody all the same. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I don't discriminate. Point is, whether you are a hillbilly or whether you're a yuppie, if you're interested in getting some good gardening done with limited space and limited resources, and you're like, well, how yuppies don't have limited resources? Listen, okay, limited space, limited resources, and you don't want to go out and get another credit card to max out on stuff you really don't need. I'm going to show you how to take advantage of the stuff you already got and how to grow some food. So, put a little check mark on your calendar, or maybe favorite this or subscribe or whatever. Check back in, as these videos, they won't be as regular as some of this channel's other videos, but check back every now and then, look at the playlist, Hillbilly Gardening, see how far we've come, because that'll show you how far you can come too. All right, I better get back inside and tell her I've at least started. See y'all next time for more.